Definitely TMNK, aka also known as Nobody. The initials.
Oh yeah. I get around. Still clown with the underground when we come around.
Yeah, you call me Nobody. I think there's too much violence in the world, too much hatred. Yet I still face the same frustrations as everybody else. So I feel like I use art as my effective way of combating intolerance, hatred. I think the same way people use a gun to hurt their enemy. If your enemy is ignorance, if your enemy is intolerance, if your enemy is hatred, you can use the medium of art, of writing, of creativity to change the world. So my paintings are like urban hieroglyphics. You know what I'm saying? I'm leaving little pictures, little stories to tell about the people, the places, the things that I've experienced right here from my viewpoint. But I also put a little socio-political spin on it and allow the viewer to interpret it as they want. What I do like is a lot of people say I copy Basquiat because they see the crown. And to me, that shows perhaps their limited knowledge and familiarity with Basquiat's work. I think his work and my work are a lot different. And so while there may be some similarities, I'm far from copying it. I'm honored if I'm compared to anyone who's considered great. I'm honored that somebody would think that a nobody like me is worthy comparison to those guys. Maybe one day, you know, I believe that one day nobody's work will be in the Museum of Modern Art. I don't know, man. I'm nobody. See, each piece of art that I do is like a story. It's a journal. It's something that I'm feeling. So I can't churn out emotions. I can't churn out thoughts. And I don't have a factory of people behind me creating whatever it is that I'm. But if people connect in some way with what I'm doing, then they're connected with me. You know, that's what it is. Factory, I think, when they used that term with Andy Warhol when pop art became big, was just the ideal. And I don't even think that was happening then. But people were saying that the work was being churned out like a factory. I think there was still a lot of thinking going on behind the work, even if it's a print. I've always been doing art. I've always been so-called talented, but a nobody. And then I became, from being homeless to being a vice president of an advertising agency, making over $100,000 a year. But I saw things, I saw how people treated each other. I saw things that bothered me deeply, almost to the point of making me angry. But that's just frustrated energy. And one day when I was frustrated with my corporate job, I started thinking, if I had my life to live over again, what would I do? Because I didn't feel like, even if I became president of that agency, big fucking deal. So I sat about it, I thought at home, and I came out to Soho one day. I took a mental day off from work, and I made $250. And I said, wow, maybe I'll do my art full time. But I still didn't quit. Every day I do pictures on the train. And I started thinking that it would be more rewarding. In other words, when I quit my job a year ago, my ego told me the most important thing to me was to be a famous artist. Had my work in the Museum of Modern Art one day, you know, being me. Then as I started to work with younger artists, the kid Patrick who works in my studio, Kim who I met from Harlem, who was homeless when I met him, or AV1, 2H, all these guys. If one of those guys, or the people who see me online, if somebody's inspired to do something positive, to follow their dreams because of me, and I'm a nobody, I'm not Picasso, I'm not really famous. You know, before you, nobody ever heard of me. So if I can show people that during the recession, my mortgage on my house is $3,500 a month. So if I can show people that during the recession, you can still follow your dreams, then maybe some other young kid from the hood, just like me, will choose to paint instead of using a gun. Maybe some other person will choose to show other parties their talent. You know, maybe a car art customizer will show a little kid his talent to how to do that. Because that's what my attack, art is my weapon. It's also my weapon against poverty and indifference. New York is a big, sprawling canvas. There's so many interesting, eclectic things, from the people to the culture to the art, that's all over the city. Well, for me, my mind sort of works the same way. You see, everything I see, it gets kind of deposited on the inside of my mind like a canvas. And then, I don't know how, but it filters out into what I paint. my experience filter out of me however they filter out. So yeah, New York definitely influences me because I watch people all the time. I watch situations. I'm always absorbing symbols and sound. And do I influence New York? I don't know. You know, I can only hope that somebody, because of me, will believe in themselves. That's all. I'm no more talented than anybody else, I don't think. But in my head, I believe, you know, I'm greater than Picasso. I think each of us should believe like this, as opposed to believe like this. If you believe like this, then maybe you get that, you know? Everybody makes, I tell people all the time, people make artists like they're somebody very special. In my mind, I don't think so. I think art is like speaking, you understand? So, we all know how to talk. Now, some people speak more eloquently, more verbose, bigger words. Some talk in slang, but they're still talking. And so some paint, very intricate, realistic. Some abstract. It doesn't matter if you're expressing yourself visually through creative means. You're an artist. Now, some believe in themselves enough to think that they should be a special artist, one that gets in a museum or something like that. But if you never make it into the museum, if you just die trying, you're still an artist. If you talk to yourself in an empty room, even though nobody hears you, you're still speaking. 5150 is the police code for mentally disturbed. Now, once I heard this, and I was asked, you know, to leave a part, they were like rousing the part, and I said, 5150, huh? Mentally disturbed. I said, yeah, that fits me, because I'm disturbed by the things I see in society. I'm disturbed that humans judge each other based on their sexual preference or their colors. It's kind of stupid to me. It really disturbed me. It's 5150. I'm disturbed I live in a society where people kill innocent children. It's very disturbing to me. So that's 5150. And it's my way of noting either the disturbing things I see in society or disturbance within me.